What's going on YouTube? So what I've got here is a 9-pound picnic shoulder. This is the lower part of the butt. The butt would attach right on up here. The picnic shoulder still has the skin attached to it. Once I get my gloves on, I'll go ahead and flip it over and show you. I've also got a rub of my own concoction here. We'll see how this goes. This is the first time I'm going to be smoking with it, obviously. I've used this on pork roasts before. I've used this on slow cooked or on oven cooked ribs, and it comes out pretty good. So we'll see how it does on this. I've had this out of the refrigerator for about a half an hour, just to let it loosen up a little bit, let it relax. So I'm going to hit it up with this. We're going to stick it on the stove, get it out of reach of the animals, and then we're going to go get the smoker set up and cooking. Alright, hang tight for 2 seconds. Let me go grab some gloves and we'll put a coat of rub on this. Alright, so we're back. Let's get this thing rubbed up. We're going to put on a good coat of rub on this on all sides, on all exposed meat. Again, still has the skin on it. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get this coated up. We're just going on the meat, okay? No need to get the skin side. That's going to be the downside. We're going to go ahead and get a nice even coat of the rub on there. Don't forget the end over here. Okay, we'll let this sit while we go UDS fired up. Now, one thing I am going to do on this, and see I've got quite a bit of the rub left here still, I am going to go ahead and get a spray bottle set up with apple juice and pineapple juice in it, and a little bit of apple cider vinegar. What I'm going to do throughout the cook is I'm going to check this about every hour, give it a spritz down, check and see if I need to add any more rub to try and help develop the bark on this. Again, this is the method that Malcolm Reed uses for his picnic shoulder. So we're going to see how I can do on this. Now, he used a fairly larger picnic shoulder than this one. So the cook time on this should be a little bit shorter. So at about the 3-hour mark, I'm going to check the temp on it. I'm not going to put a thermometer in it right away, but I'm going to check the temp at about the 3-hour mark, see if it's around that 176 mark. If it is, I'm going to go ahead and pull it, wrap it, and put it back on. So I'll bring you back out when I've got the grill ready to throw this on. So coals are ready, lid's on. We're going to take it up to about 250 and let it sit there for probably about 15 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and put the meat on. Alright, so she had jumped up to 270. She's starting to come down again. So I'm going to let this sit for about another 10 minutes, and then we'll go ahead and put the meat on. What I did to get it to come down from 270 is I closed this one about just so it's 1/4 inch open. Same with this guy here, and then as you can see, I've closed the damper up top. It's part of the reason I wanted this damper, is so that it'll help me control the temperature within the cook chamber. As you can see, it's starting to creep back down. Once it gets up high, it's hard to bring it back down, and I don't want to open that lid prematurely because that's just going to introduce oxygen into the system and create more heat, which we don't want to do. So I'm going to let it sit where it's at for right now, and I'm going to go get the meat and get ready to put it on. Alright, so here's the deal. She's dropped down to under 240. I'm going to see if she comes back up. I moved her out of the sun and she dropped pretty rapidly, so I'm kind of afraid that the fire died out. So I'm going to give her a few more minutes, see if she starts. Oh, she's starting to climb again. see if I can get her to stabilize at 250 before I put that meat on and waste that lovely meat. I'll be back with an update. Alright, so I pulled the lid off. She wasn't dead, but she was close to it. I'm going to let her get some oxygen, let her breathe for a few minutes. I've got both the valves open wide up and obviously the lid off. I'm going to let that recatch and go for about another 15 minutes the way she's at right now, and then we'll go ahead and close her back up, start the process all over again. Alright, so I've been fighting with her. She's back up to 316. She must really like that 300 mark, 317. I've got this guy right here closed all the way off. I've got the damper about halfway closed, and I've got this one just a sliver open. So I'm hoping that she's slowed down, but she hasn't started falling yet. And it's been probably about 20 minutes since I made those adjustments. So yeah, she must love to run hot. That's not where we want her though. We want her between the 250 and 275 range. Over 300 is not good. Doesn't put off good smoke. Doesn't slow cook. That's more of a fast cook temperature. So, she started to fall now. So it went from 317 to 316. So I'll give her a few more minutes. Give her probably another 20 minutes before I put her on. I'm well past where I wanted to be to put the meat on. So dinner's going to be a little late tonight, if we even have this for dinner tonight. So we'll see. I'll keep you in the loop. Alright, so she's been falling. She's back down around the 288 mark. I can't wait any longer. I'm going to go ahead and get this meat on the grill. Or on the smoker, rather. Alright, just that short little open dropped her back down to 255, which scares me a little bit. I'm going to keep an eye on her like a hawk here for the next 30 minutes or so. In about an hour I'm going to pop her open if I can get the heat stabilized and mop her down with some applesauce, pineapple, or apple juice, pineapple juice, and apple cider vinegar. So looks like she stopped falling at about 251, which is actually perfect. That's right where we want to be. So I'm going to keep an eye on that temperature and make note of where my valves are set. I'll probably grab some, since this is my first real smoker, I'll probably grab some of my wife's nail polish and mark on the valves and up top here as to where everything's set. For that 250 mark if it stabilizes at that temperature. Alright, so I'll check back in with you here around the first mop, let you know how it's been going. Alright, so it took her a little bit, but she went down to about 230. She's starting to climb back up. It's taken probably about a half hour for it to come back up to that 255 mark here. Get you a little bit better here. There we go. So she's at 255. I've got the alarm set for 275. I don't want her to go above that as best I can. Since she's been steadily climbing, I'm going to go and tweak back on these vents just a little bit, just to make sure that she doesn't go over that 300 mark. So she's at 255. I'm waiting to see if she's still climbing here. She seems to have stabilized at 255. So again, just to recap, I've got everything wide open. Both of these guys here are fully wide open. I've got my exhaust vent here wide open as well. All the way. Oh, no, she just jumped up to 257. So I'm going to go ahead and tweak back on those vents just a little bit. Alright, so I tweaked back on those probably about 1/8 of a turn. Again, you can see she climbed up to 258. So, just cross our fingers right now, I guess. I mean, this is part of the novice side of it. I mean, I've read everything. I've watched a bunch of videos, but again, never really done it. So, got my hands on it. So I'm trying out all the knowledge that I've gotten so far. Hopefully you're gonna try this out yourself, and just know, be willing to spend some time with it. It doesn't, a lot of these guys in their videos make it look really easy, but when you're first starting out, it's not all that easy. You got to find out where to set your vents, proper temperature control, all of that. And see, she's up to 268 here. I'm going to give her a few minutes since I tweaked those vents, see if she stabilizes or drops back down. Again, don't want her to go over that 275 mark there. I've got the alarm set so that if I'm away from it and it hits that, I can come and running. So she's been cooking for about an hour, stabilized right around that 260 mark, which is okay. That's right between the 250, 275 where we want to keep it. Don't see much smoke coming out of there, but talking to the guys on SMF, they said it could be just a really clean burn, and I should still be getting the flavor. We'll see at the end. I'm gonna go grab the mop and rub and mop her down, add a little extra rub if I think she needs it. We'll just let her keep cooking. So I'm not gonna bring you guys back in every hour. I'll show you the final product, might drop you in a couple of times along the way. I'll definitely bring you back when I go to wrap it. We're going to wrap it probably about the 3-hour mark. So, alright. Alright, so the reason I'm mopping is I couldn't find my spray bottle. So we're going to do it as a mop instead. I'm using equal parts apple juice, pineapple juice, apple cider vinegar. So she doesn't look like she needs much more of the rub. So I'm going to go ahead and close this back up. Now the main reason we go ahead and do this as well is because that's going to help develop the bark. Those nice, crunchy, flavorful pieces that we all love about smoking, that we all love about good barbecue. So as you can see, she dropped down quite a bit. I'm going to go ahead and let her stabilize up. Don't want that to happen. Open that back up. So, haven't touched these since we talked last. So, I'm going to let her come back up to temp, keep an eye on her for about the next 30 minutes. And I'll come back the next 2 hours, do the same thing, and see what the bark looks like. Might add some additional rub to it if I think she needs it, but right now she looks pretty good. So, other than that, guys, I'll see you when I'm ready to wrap it. Alright, so it's been about 3 hours. She's dipped kind of below that 250 mark we want to see. Temperature's been fluctuating quite a bit. I've been out here tending it a little bit more than what I was wanting to. But it's been on for 3 hours. We're going to go ahead and get her wrapped now. And hopefully get that temp back up. So let's go ahead and get this done. Need gloves. Gloves, gloves, gloves. Alright, so I did not get a chance to pick up liners for inside these gloves. This is going to be hot, so I'm going to try not to drop it and get it done as quickly as possible. Oh, that looks good. I am going to need something else here. Hold on one second for me. Alright, so yeah, don't try picking that up without some sort of liner or heat protection underneath these. That's hot, obviously. So I've got my big Hoss spatula here and just another one. I'm going to go ahead and use that to get up. Still looks pretty good. Kind of damaged the bark a little bit, but push that back down and hopefully she'll mend back up halfway decently. So we're going to wrap this twice. Once this way, turn it 90, once the other way. And while you're doing that, put the lid back on. Now that she's wiped, we want to go ahead and put this in. Keep in mind you've got a bone that runs right down the center of this, so you want to try and get it center mass here. Alright, so that's in. We'll put her back on. And we're going to set our second probe to 200. Alright, so let me get this out into the shade. So, heat was only at 124, which, yeah, that's not good. Should have been at about 176. Probably should have left it unwrapped for another hour. Oh, and see, temps climbing, climbing, climbing. Let me turn down some of these vents here real quick. See, this is what I've been fighting all day. So, I'm going to go ahead and get this heat back down. And so I'm going to work on getting this heat back down. And we'll go ahead and get the meat up to 200. And I will see you guys inside when I pull it. Alright, so we're at 199, total of 6-hour cook time. I'm gonna go grab a pan to go ahead and get this pulled. By that point it should be right at 200 for us, so we'll be back. Looks like we're leaking quite a bit out of that. Which might explain the temperature issues I was having for the last hour. So I'm going to go ahead and close all of the vents, let this smolder itself out. Still looks like I got at least 3/4 of a basket left though, even with all the temperature fluctuations and everything. So. And that's the alarm for the meat going off there. Alright, so we got her back inside. And what I'm going to do is pull the probe here. And then we're going to let her vent for about a half hour. Just to let her cool off and rest. That is definitely some warm pork. So it looks like it's separated from this bone here and the shank bone. Oh yeah, that shank bone's coming right out, so we should be golden. I'm going to let this rest for about a half hour, vent it out like this. Going to try and preserve as much liquid here just in case it's a little on the dry side. So let's let this rest and I'll be back. Alright, so she's rested for a half hour. Let's go ahead and pull her apart, shall we? Or see if she will. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice and clean. Phenomenal. And we got another bone right in here as well. So we're going to go ahead and just start pulling her apart to get... Oh, look at that. Look at that. Ooh, that's hot. That's really, really hot. I think I might have wanted to let this rest just a little bit longer. Let me go grab some finger extenders here. Okay, so I couldn't find my claws, so I'm just going to have to use some forks here to get in here and pull this apart. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Shredding so easy. So easy. Oh, that looks so good. I don't know if I can wait. Here, let's give her a try. Grab one of these pieces with the bark on it. Oh, look at that. It even does have a bit of a smoke ring. I don't know if you can see that here. That is some good stuff. Oh yeah. Let's try and get this leg bone out of here. Then I'll be able to transfer this to the other waiting pan to get the skin off of it. It's still really, really hot. The amount of steam that's coming off of this. Got some tougher pieces still in the center. I think that might be due to somewhat to the temperature fluctuations I was fighting all day today. Still got a little bit of connective tissue that didn't quite break down all the way. I'm sure it would be easier if I was doing this with my fingers, but that's really hot. As you can see, the dogs are smelling it and they think it smells good too. So let's transfer. Oh. See if I can just leave the skin behind here. Oh yeah, look at that. Try and take some of that fat layer and leave it behind too. think that's pretty much all the meat left here. I think the rest of this is all going to be skin and fat. Oh, no. Got a few smaller pieces here still. Alright, I'm not going to shred this. I'm going to try and leave some bigger chunks here so it's more of a pulled pork than it is a shredded pork. Ah, that looks so good. So much steam still coming off of this. Alright, so a couple of things that I learned from this cook. First thing, I need to get some liners to put underneath those nitrile gloves so that I can handle stuff with my hands instead of having to get forks and oven mitts and all that happy stuff. 2, temperature control is a bitch. I spent more time going back and forth today to my cooker, fiddling with the knobs because my temperature was going too high, my temperature was going too low. I was doing small adjustments, but I kept getting wild fluctuations. I think if I had it to do over again, I would take in maybe a pan of water, stick it in my cooker, and do a practice run on it to see where 250 gets dialed in. The few tastes that I had were good. Didn't get much smoke penetration though. I mean, you did see a little bit of a smoke ring on there. I think I might have gone a little too heavy on the rub. And since it wasn't a traditional barbecue rub with sugars and salts and all of that, I think that I just didn't get the penetration that I was looking for. Still tastes good. You can still taste the smoke a little bit, but it's not what I was looking for. So, this is cook number 1 on my first real smoker. We'll see where it goes from here. So I think I'm gonna have my wife pick up a butt from the store next time that she's out. Do that my next days off. Yeah, I like that idea. We'll try this again. I'll go a little lighter on the rub next time. Maybe go a little bit more traditional. Salt, sugar, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I really like that idea. Join me in my next smoking adventure. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon so you get notified when I upload my next video. Guys, comment down below if you saw me do anything wrong. If you think that you've got an idea of where my fluctuation's coming from, please let me know. I know a couple of guys on Smoking Meats Forum have already said that I need to switch over to briquettes. I just bought a 20-pound bag of lump, so I've got that for just a little bit. With the seasoning burn that you saw and this cook, I've gone through about 10 pounds of charcoal, so I've got half a bag left. So we'll see. Alright, again, don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell icon, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.